Hey Nick, why did the snowman go to the garden?
Why did the snowman go to the garden?
To pick his nose. We don't have it yet. Ho ho ho, happy holidays to everyone out there. This is We Don't Have It Yet. I am Wyatt, that is Nick, and we would like to welcome you to our first of two special holiday episodes. How's it
Hey
going, Nick?
ho ho ho!
You ready for this? I think we're gonna just get down to business today and give the people what they want.
I think yeah, it's straight to action. You can explain the concept of what we're wrapping up our year with here.
Absolutely. So we're going to be doing two episodes over the next couple weeks. This first episode is going to focus on both of our top five media consumed. I guess I would say digital video consumed. Either I'm going to take this again. So let's cut this out.
You don't have to cut anything. I find it amusing. We're gonna rate our top five movies and series of the year,
There
stuff
we
we
go.
watched, be it new to
Words.
us or actually of 2025. I imagine there'll maybe be some bleed over from stuff that was new to us this year. And in the next one, we'll tackle games, man.
So let's get into it. What is your fifth favorite movie slash
Oh,
TV
I
show that
go
you
first. You're
watched?
just gonna
Yeah.
throw me right into
I
it. All
I
right.
I am because you said you were still trying to tweak your final ranking, so
I
I'm
was.
forcing your hand.
Okay, so number five, I had, and this is kind of my popcorn pick for the year, I guess. Superman. James Gunn's new take on the DC hero that kind of asked, how does that character and the idea of that character exist in our interesting modern internet troll world? Um, and I really just had a lot of fun with it. It's one of the only real Superman movies I've ever actually seen the whole thing of, to be honest.
Have you ever seen the classics?
I put together in parts, like, it's on TV, caught a
Yeah.
half hour of Superman 2. It's on TV, caught, and that's all the Christopher Reeves are like that in my head, that they kind of blend into one uh, generic movie from my childhood. Um, but I think you watched and at least marginally enjoyed this, right?
I did not actually get a chance to watch Superman
Oh,
this
okay.
year.
I was like, you're
So
being awful silent about
yeah,
this, so you have
I
no
can't
opinion on it.
even no, I can't
No, well,
even chime in.
it's I appreciate James Gunn's touch, both in writing direction, what have you. His unique ability to shine the spotlight on lesser characters, Mr. Fantastic and Green Lantern being both just like wonderful side characters that shined in this movie. And Lois is a little more three-dimensional than we've seen her in the past, a little more rounded of a character, and their relationship is kind of a little more real-world struggle versus how is it possible to just date Superman, because he's Superman. The whole thing was, I just really enjoyed it. Good time at the movies. Uh, it kind of explores fun parts of the character without beating you down to some dark take Zack Snyderverse thing or whatever that was, where the characters, it opened with him fishing for like a deadliest catch crab boat and stuff like that. I remember seeing the trailer and just thinking,
Hmm.
I'm not for this vision of Superman. Um,
The
it's
dark,
yeah. How
gritty
does
Snyderverse.
yeah, well, how does this character exist, yeah, in the modern world is just an interesting question. Where it's fun to explore, and I look forward to seeing more of it. Nicholas Hoult played out of his mind in this as Lex Luthor. Loved him. Gene Hackman was always the more memorable part of the originals for me, anyway.
Yep. How was you don't have to give too much away, but how was Nathan Fillion's Green Lantern?
Oh, absolutely
I just
wonderful.
all I
Like
remember is the haircut seeing in
the
the
haircut plays. It plays so well, and he's so wonderful as he is in everything. He plays a character that's totally full of himself and a bit of a jackass, but in the end of the day is probably going to do the right thing, kind of thing. But kind of can't get out of his own way and his own ego. Just yeah, great. That's the kind of characters that I love in those movies, in the James Gunn movies, and probably why Guardians is so successful too as a franchise, because they were lesser knowns, kind of taken and put in under the spotlight, and he could mold them a little more in his own vision, or something truer to the comics. I don't really even know what is true to the comics these days, to be honest. But
Yeah, that's I like most people, I've kind of had superhero fatigue because we've been beat over the head with it for the
I'm
last
definitely yeah,
15 plus
Marvel
years.
fatigue. I would say this
Yeah.
is my favorite thing since not Endgame, the Infinity War. Like my favorite comic property that I've probably seen since then.
Yeah, I actually, talking about the superhero fatigue, I can't remember the last superhero movie I watched. I haven't watched Fantastic Four. I haven't watched Superman, obviously.
I put on
Uh,
Fantastic Four and ended up taking a nap throughout the runtime, so that doesn't count. I watched Thunderbolts. That was good. It was better than most, especially in the modern era, but
I wanted to
nothing
watch that. That's been on my
nothing
list too.
terribly memorable.
But maybe, maybe this next few weeks I have off from work, I'll actually take some time and watch a superhero movie or two, I guess.
I mean, it's the perfect kind of thing to put on where you don't really have any stakes in it, and it's the middle of the afternoon. You're kind of just hanging out on the couch
Yeah.
during the break downtime in your sweats, and it's like, okay, I can put that on and still play a game at the same time and not really miss much.
All right. So my number five, it's one that we spoke about before, and in fact, I never would have watched it if not for having this podcast, probably, is Tim Travers and the Time Traveler's Paradox.
Yeah,
It's not an amazing movie. It's not, or I don't think it won any awards, and I don't think it will win any awards, but it was a blast. Who do we have in it? Samuel Dunning, who played Tim Travers, who I don't remember from anything else. But then you have Danny Trejo, you have Joel McHale, Keith David, Felicia Day. Somebody was definitely cashing in some favors on this cast.
yeah, but what wonderful favors they must
Oh,
have been, because
absolutely.
everybody seems to like really be enthused to be there. Like Danny Trejo playing the kind of like self-aware master assassin guy who's
Yeah.
like, nope, nope, that's enough for me. I'm going to get a beer. That was wonderful. Keith David was obviously having a blast as some form of a
As
god.
the simulator, I
Yeah.
believe, is what his character was.
Yeah.
But yeah, so for anyone that may not have listened to some of our earlier episodes, Tim Travers and the Time Traveler's Paradox is a science fiction dark comedy, I would
Definitely
say
a
it
comedy.
is.
Yeah.
It's
I mean, Joel
about
McHale's hilarious in it.
yeah, Joe McHale plays like an Alex Jones type conspiracy
Hmm.
theorist who invites Tim Travers onto his podcast and basically tries to berate him, but Tim Travers just doesn't want to take any of his crap and pushes back on all his dumb conspiracy theories. And yeah, but so Tim Travers is a mad scientist who wants to figure out time travel, and very quickly at the beginning of the movie, he figures out time travel, but he wants to figure
Well,
out.
it's the reason he wants to figure out
Yes.
time travel is the interesting part.
Yes, he wants to figure out. He wants to solve the time traveler's paradox, being that what happens if you go back in time and encounter yourself and kill yourself. You therefore should not exist because you died.
And
And
yet you somehow do.
yes, so it's not really giving away too much because it's in the first 3 minutes of the movie. But Samuel Dunning, Tim Travers, goes back in time in the first couple minutes of the movie, shoots himself in the head. He's still alive, and then he spends like the next 10 minutes of the movie continuing to go back into the past. And you got to test your hypothesis. You got to verify, and he keeps killing himself, and he's still alive. So he spends the entire movie more or less trying to figure out like why does this work? This makes no sense. Like I shouldn't be
Well,
here.
it's the arrogance of science in that it makes no sense and he shouldn't be there. So he sets out to
Yeah.
create a paradox and destroy the universe just to
Just to
prove
prove.
himself right. Yeah.
But it was a lot of fun. It looks like it was on the festival circuit back in March of 2024. It got a release, probably digital only.
I'm
in
surprised I
May
haven't
of
seen this
2025.
kind of find itself on a streaming service a little bit. There's fun to be had here.
I wouldn't be surprised if it was on Pluto or Tubi or something right now, and it's just one of those things that are playing there, or maybe even the Roku channel. But if it's not, it will definitely end up there. It did have a very small box office release, which I'm going to guess is just the festival, because here on the Wikipedia page it says that they made
Yeah,
$2,725 at the box
so
office.
they sold tickets trying
Yeah,
to sell the movie.
yeah,
Yeah,
and nobody bit.
yeah.
But yeah, I highly suggest. I think it's a if you enjoy sci-fi, if you enjoy something that isn't it's almost an antithesis really to Nick's number 5 pick. You like mainstream Superman, everyone knows Superman, like a known property.
Oh
It's
well,
something that's
it's
been retold over and over
well.
in
I
a
thought
different
yeah,
way. But this
it's
is
certainly
like
an
the other
original.
end, that it's an original story. There's, as far as I can tell, it's never going to be a franchise. There's not going to be another one like it. I mean, maybe we could see Tim Travers in some other type of shenanigans,
I'd
maybe.
love to. That would be great. I love that
But
character.
I highly
But
recommend.
where do you go from here?
You never know.
That's true. Yeah, I thought you were going to go with the compared to Superman. Tim Travers is the antithesis because he is definitely not the embodiment of good
Oh yes, he
uh,
is.
and
He
the human
absolutely is.
spirit.
So what is your number 4?
Into number 4, I can't remember if you had already watched this or if you even have watched this or not, to be honest with you. But this came up, I think, in one of our side combos, and I believe Ian recommended this, and maybe somebody else. This was a mini series, and it is animated, called Common Side Effects.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So this came completely out of left field for me. As many things do, I tend to just be unaware of stuff unless someone introduces it to me. But it is an animated show that did debut in 2024. Okay, so I'm cheating a little bit.
It's when you watched it.
That it is when I watched it, which was this year. And this aired, I think, was this an Adult Swim?
Yeah, it's an Adult Swim
Yes, this was
property.
Adult Swim. The animation style is very it's original, but definitely has some, I would say, anime influence. It is not really a comedy.
No.
It deals with some pretty heady subject matter uh, about the whole pharmaceuticals industry and all the players in it, and holistic medicine, and all the things that may be standing in the way and get in the way of each other, and actual real progress, and all sorts of fun stuff like that. Um, Mike Judge plays a pharmaceutical executive who's really not evil.
He's just an
Um,
idiot.
he just kind of is operating in his own little world and just has really no concept of anything. Yeah, it's really interesting. He nails that in that he doesn't just make that character be curling his long mustache
Yeah.
kind of thing. As it's the actual, of course, the pharmaceutical exec's going to be the big bad. Well, not necessarily. I mean, he still is bad, but everybody's a little bad in this whole thing.
And he
Um,
enjoys Farming Simulator.
Yeah, and he enjoys Farming Simulator. And then you had the highlight of the show for me was the two DEA agents,
Yeah,
Harrington and Capano,
Heretic. Yep.
played
They're
by
awesome.
Martha Kelly and Joseph Lee Anderson. I'm looking here on the IMDb, who I don't think I'm familiar with, but they were totally stole the show. They play partners, and they have a really strong, I guess, bond, and
Hmm.
they both love music and are constantly like pantomiming and singing and dancing in the car.
That's how we first
Um,
meet them too.
which makes for just one of the greatest intro scenes to their characters ever. I won't spoil it, but it's wonderful. It's their boss gets asked if they're dependable, and it's kind of a cut shot over to what they're doing at that exact moment, and it's wonderful. So if you have the chance, it's not particularly long. I think this was like 6 to 7 episodes or something like that.
10 episodes.
10 episodes, but
Yep.
they weren't.
I think they're 22 to
Yeah, they
like.
were not an hour or anything.
No.
So easily digestible. It's the kind of thing you could get through in a weekend if you wanted to. But I highly recommend. It's beautiful. The story is fantastic.
The
It's
animation is
definitely
great.
the animation's gorgeous. It's definitely a thinker. Like it'll make you kind of think about some stuff in our current weird world, and it's hilarious and very good natured despite the heady subject matter. So obviously you did watch this. At
Yes,
some
I
point.
did.
Yeah.
Yep. And I will correct you.
Go right
So
ahead.
you were
It's
right
been a
and
minute. It's
wrong.
been a minute.
Yeah. So it actually, the premiere episode played at a festival in 2024, but it didn't actually hit TV until February of this year. So
Oh, okay, cool.
we can
Cool,
still
cool,
give it to
cool.
you for
Yeah,
2025.
well, I'm scrolling the IMDb, and you just look at the first date kind of thing. So, uh, I'm just looking. Oh, she was in Martha Kelly was in What We Do in Shadows, the TV series, which I watched the original movie, but I've never actually seen the show. I know people love it, so I got to check that out now, maybe.
I do
And
too. I've heard
something
good
called
things.
Indoor Baseball, which I mean, that just sounds fun.
So let's see. My number 4.
Number 4.
This is something that we tried multiple times to make possibly a recurring segment and then just never really lined up and or we never ended up really talking about it.
Hmm.
But The Chair Company, the HBO, Zach Kanan, Tim Robinson, dark comedy, conspiracy theory
Yeah,
television
so
show.
I was hoping you would mention this because I have this on my list of honorable mentions for this list. I had both The Chair Company and Tim Robinson's movie Friendship as
Hmm.
honorable mentions, and they were very, very close to finding a place, but they got edged out.
Yeah. So for again, people who haven't seen it, the idea is Tim Robinson works for an architecture firm, I believe, that designs malls.
Hmm.
He the first episode, he's supposed to give a nice big speech talking about this new development they're making. It goes super well. He's feeling himself. He's real great. He goes to sit down in a chair, and the chair just falls apart. And he's on his back and inadvertently ends up seeing up a coworker's dress, and this becomes a through line for the rest of the show. And instead of this just being something that happened, like, oh no, this chair was crappy or put together crappy, Tim Robinson quickly goes off the deep end and decides this has to be some type of conspiracy theory. He looks up who makes the chair. He can't find information on him, and you just follow him
And
through, I
away we
want to,
go.
yeah,
Yeah.
through 8 episodes, I believe, of him just being Tim Robinson, but a little more reserved. The characters around him get to
Oh,
play
it's
like
definitely
the
a Tim Robinson world, but
yes,
he's playing it much more
he
everyman.
gets to play yeah, he's the
Yeah.
everyman straight man in this one. Uh,
He's kind of like he's playing a bit of a caricature of like the middle-aged suburban
yeah,
kind of like
midlife
schlub.
midlife crisis.
Yeah, totally stuck in a rut, hates his corporate job. He had to give up on his failed business of Jeep tours
Yeah.
that he left his job to start.
He left his
This kind
job
of
that he returned to, so he was
right,
at the
right.
same firm and
Yeah,
then
so he's
quit
like
it.
extra miserable. So
Yeah,
he planted his flag to follow his dreams and then had to, tuck his tail and go back kind of thing. So he's kind of a half broken man a bit.
Yeah, and he's got a young son who I believe is a senior in high school. He's got a daughter who see, probably in like her early to mid 20s or so, who's
Yeah.
getting married.
He's married to
S-
Lake Bell, so he's clearly doing quite well for himself.
exactly. Yeah, he he somehow pulled Blake Bell. Um, I don't want to give too much away because there's just so many twists and turns, and every episode ends on a cliffhanger that makes you go. Usually
It's
makes you
also
go.
very, very difficult to sit back and describe it and say, "Here's how this scene went. It was funny." It's a lot of you really got to be in there because I mean it's absurdist humor.
Yeah. Uh, I if you like Tim Robinson, you'll like the show. If you
Yeah.
don't like Tim Robinson, don't bother watching it. I'm not going to try and change your mind. Tim Robinson's sense of humor is something that you like or you don't.
It was
So if you,
he and his writing partner really I can picture them kind of getting into their own little world, and I can't remember his name off the top of my head.
it's Zach. I want
Zach.
to say
Yeah.
Zach Kanan. Yeah, I'd
Yeah,
said it
because that's where
originally.
Farmer Zach's came from.
Yeah, I
Uh,
didn't realize yeah, because Zach Kanan has been in a lot of Tim Robinson sketches for I Think You Should Leave, and like
mhm.
I'd always see this guy over and over again. I'm like, oh, he's just like one of because Tim Robinson used a lot of recurring characters in his stuff. So then when I finally decided to, I watched an interview I think with Seth Meyers. Maybe I think Tim Robinson and Zach Kanan did an interview. I'm like, oh, holy crap, he's the guy that directs all of Tim Robinson's stuff. Oh, I don't know if you noticed, and I'm sure you did, and we never talked about it. But
Oh, holy shit! It's that guy. I just pulled up a picture.
who he
Yeah,
is? Yeah.
yeah.
We never mentioned that Jim Downey's in this. He plays Douglas, and he is such a great character.
He really is.
So, for anyone who may not be familiar, Jim Downey was like a legendary comedy
SNL
writer.
royalty.
Yeah. Spent like 30 years at SNL. But yeah, there's just I enjoy it. If you enjoy Tim Robinson, you'll enjoy this.
Conan referred to Jim Downey as the greatest comedy writer of all time.
And I probably wouldn't disagree with him.
So that brings us on. Yeah, Friendship is definitely in the same ballpark for me, that it was very much in that Tim Robinson wheelhouse as well, which I love. It can border up on that cringe, making you uncomfortable humor.
Yeah. So yeah,
Which Nathan, for you, usually goes over that line for me personally.
That's too awkward for you.
I find it so awkward that I have difficulty watching it. Yeah.
Since I'm gonna hop back, since you were talking about honorable mentions.
Yeah,
and I didn't write any down. You mentioning Nathan Fielder and Nathan For You reminded me. This probably should be in my top 5, but the list has already been made, so it's
fair.
Been bumped back to honorable
That's how
mention.
these go.
Did you, and you said Nathan Fielder's too much for you, but did you get a chance to watch the second season of his show, The Rehearsal?
I didn't.
You really need to.
I know, and everybody tells me,
it's not
and
as
I will.
cringe. Like, it's not Nathan Fielder cringe. It's like it's really wild. Like, Nathan Fielder very quickly turns into like serious. Like, there's an issue that he's trying to solve.
He's an incredibly smart guy.
Oh, absolutely.
I have no doubt about that whatsoever. But he's operating on a different level than me sometimes, I think.
But I actually do think that you would really enjoy it. There's a little bit of like Nathan Fielder, like, creating things.
This is the pilot and the baby thing?
Yes.
Yeah.
The baby thing is the weird, like, if that's the only thing you know about the new season, like, that's the weirdest thing of the entire season.
He's exploring, I mean, he's almost like a sociologist in a lot of ways, isn't he?
Yeah.
Observant of human behavior.
I was blown away when I watched that mini series, I guess, that season, like, seeing him pick this stuff apart and actually seeing him, like, you're not used to him. If you see him in Nathan For You and stuff, like you said, it's just like, oh, he's got this problem, and he just goes way over the top and goes past these boundaries and just like makes people feel awkward and stuff. And like, you see right from the first episode of the second season of The Rehearsal that he became hyper focused on this issue with airlines, and he's like, I need to figure out why this stuff is happening. This is weird, and pours himself into this research, finds someone in the federal government that's done this work, like partners with him to like find all this stuff, and it's wild.
It's I'm glad he's doing it, I guess, but it's funny that, we used to have these things called investigative journalists that looked into that type of stuff.
Yeah, and he absolutely basically took that role over.
Yeah.
Let's take a quick break.
Oh, okay. I'll take a free pee.
Yeah. I hear something going on outside of my house, and I don't know if my snowblower is being dropped off or if someone's
go.
doing
That's
something.
Important. Yeah,
so I just want to check to see what's going on.
Yep.
Climate, something you said or done in the past can cause you to be fired from your place of work. Don't let something you said or done get you undeservedly fired from your position. We all make mistakes. We shouldn't be punished for them. I was fired from work for something completely embarrassing. I was fired for something extremely embarrassing. I'm not going to say what it was, but it led me to invent this powerful hot dog vacuum. People say to me, what inspired you to invent this? And I say, I cannot talk about it without crying. Here's how my invention works. Let's say you're at work and they push lunch without asking, which shouldn't be allowed. Cut to, you got 6 inches of hot dog stuffed down your throat and no one gives a shit. Simply place the Carver hot dog vacuum like so. Boom. They waited a while to fire me so it wouldn't be obvious what they were firing me for. They said poor performance. You sure about that? You sure about that? That's why? You sure it wasn't because after the thing that happened to me, no one could look at me without dying laughing? You sure about that? You sure about that's not why? Once this invention's big enough, I'm gonna buy my own company and make the dress code be a big wet diaper. The Carver reputation vacuum. Don't let one bad day ruin your future. Carberco Technology, the people's company, because no one should have one bad day.
Let's get back to it. I assume that Nick has just inserted a very great commercial into that quick commercial break.
Oh, it was so good. So good. I have no
Go
idea
out
what
and
it was because I haven't
support
done
your
it yet.
local commercial. All right, so we are back, and I believe we are at your number 3.
I would say that's my number 3.
All right, what is your number 3? We're in the top 3 now.
At number 3, I have, and I think this will probably be somewhere on your list. I'd be shocked if it weren't. Kind of a movie about community manhood.
Yeah, Mr. Smith Goes to Washington.
That's right.
The 1939 Jimmy Stewart.
The Odd Rituals of Friendship. It was EFIS, baseball
never heard of it.
movie that Wyatt has never seen or didn't tell me about in any way. EFIS it did come out this year to the best of my knowledge.
It did. February of this year, I think it started doing its rounds.
In my opinion, something of a love letter to the camaraderie that comes from baseball and the bonds that you form and kind of the disappearing of it all. The coming waves of change that you can't hold back as these guys play one last game. This is like an over 40 league. Am I right in saying that maybe?
No, it's just an adult rec league.
An adult rec fast pitch league. And they're losing their field for the
due to a middle school construction.
A new school. So I mean, it's not like the evil developers are coming away to take the community center, like the '80s trope or something. It's good change probably that a school is being built, but change nonetheless.
But don't tell the guys on the team
Absolutely.
about that, because the developer, who I think the lead architect is one of the guys that started this league. So everyone, and he's a captain of one of the teams, and the entire team just hates him because he's doing his job.
So, I mean, yeah, this is my number 3. I adored every bit of this movie. I could see where maybe it's not going to be for everybody because it's a baseball movie, but it's kind of not at the same time.
Yeah, it's more about life. I mean, it's such a weird thing to say, but it's really just about life and growing up and losing the things that you held near and dear that, I guess kept you young.
Because it's saying goodbye to perhaps that portion of your life in some ways.
The guys in this league, you'd said over 40, but I believe there are guys in this league that are, one of them's in college, so it's like,
I was
from
going to
22.
Say, as soon as that came out, I remembered that there were like the young bucks on the team.
Yeah, there's guys from like 22 to, I'd say, like early to mid 50s. It's just a bunch of guys from a small town in Massachusetts that get together every Sunday to play in their little 2-team league.
Yep. Is that the whole? I didn't realize maybe there were only supposed to be 2 teams.
Maybe there's more, but the way it seemed, like, I'm pretty sure it was just these 2 teams that were created.
Fair.
There are other small leagues, and I believe this is supposed to take place in the early 90s, late 80s, so in which I really enjoy, and not to like talk over you on it, but I will. No. This is on my list, so we'll be able to just basically brush over it. Yeah. So it takes place in the late 80s, early 90s, and I really appreciate them doing that because it takes you back to that time. These days, I guarantee if you go and watch, I play in a Sandlot baseball league.
Yeah,
and half the time, so this is also kind of why I appreciate this movie. But you see these days, the guys in the dugout, they have their phone out. They're playing Spotify. They're doing whatever. They're not really involved in it. The guys in this league in EFIS, like, they have an old school boombox that's playing FM radio. These guys are just sitting there, they're drinking their beers.
Got their coolers,
they're there. They're in the moment, and it's harkens back to a time that we don't really have
Well,
anymore.
it's the whole discussion on third places, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's the same thing. This movie is basically about the destruction of a third space
Yeah.
that these guys had. They had their work, they had their home, and then on the weekends they went and played baseball. And now they're losing that. And throughout the movie, a couple of guys are like, oh well, there's a league that plays in this town, and someone's like, I'm not driving 30 minutes to go play another
Yeah.
damn league. Like so, like they could take initiative and get that back, but it's like this was our home. We're losing it. And
Well, as the course of the game moves on, each player they drop off in numbers.
Someone has to go
forever.
to
Somebody has to go do this. Somebody's done
a
with
baptism.
them for this. Somebody's over this, and then like you get your heart broken by the one guy who's like he swears his wife and his kids are still coming to watch him play, as if he's going to be their hero in this pickup league that nobody gives a shit about.
And I think they end up leaving like right before one of his at bats or something.
Yeah,
like
your heart just breaks for him, kind of, and that is his world. And it presses on to the point where they're it's getting dark and they're throwing on the headlights because these guys are straggling. They just can't let it go, and it's beautiful. It was a wonderful movie.
This was after, so I believe the games are supposed to be like 90 minutes long or whatever. So they have actual umpires for the game. Their 90 minutes are up. The umpires are like, okay, we're done. That's the end of the game. And the guys refuse. So this game goes on from like, let's say 1 p.m. And I think it ends probably around midnight or so. Like they do not want this game to end. It goes into extra innings. There's this one, I wish I could remember his name. This one older guy that was the scorekeeper for like the entire league forever.
Mm-hmm.
And like, he's the one that made me so sad. Like he was the one that he just would walk there every Sunday. He'd take the score. Everyone loved him. They'd all talk to him and stuff.
Yeah.
And
I mean, he's clearly, that is his entire life kind of thing. And he's, that was his existence, basically, is going and being. That made him a part of something.
Yeah,
that guy.
And a little behind the scenes stuff. Because I went and saw a early screening of this when it came to Concord. Carson Lund, who directed and I believe co-wrote the movie, he's actually from New Hampshire, so we got to come home and screen it. And the guy, I wish I could remember the older guy's name that plays the scorekeeper, but he was based off someone that they knew as kids in Nashua, like someone that the entire town knew that, he really loved baseball and everything. So it was kind of his love letter to that gentleman from when they were younger.
Love that.
But it was a lot of fun. Both of us tangentially have gotten to chat back and forth with one of the actors from the movie Ephus, John R. Smith Jr., who's a great guy.
Shout out John R. Smith on Blue Sky. He's so much fun. I like that guy.
He plays one of the catchers for the teams. He's got a couple really great lines in the movie, which I had mentioned to him, and he gives all the credit to the writers that wrote the lines and stuff. Obviously, it's a group effort, but
if you look at the poster for this movie, it feels very. I hate to use the word authentic now because it's been taken away. But you look at the characters and you're like, those guys from your towny baseball league kind of thing. If you grew up playing in those kind of things or knowing guys that did, like you know every single character.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think I have anything else to add to your number 3. So moving on to mine,
number 3, which is not Ephus.
No, although it would have been pretty great if it was. Then we would have been able to knock that off and go straight to number 2. So my number 3 is one that you were familiar with. It didn't technically come out in 2025. However, the season I watched came out in 2025, so it works. Yeah. I believe I showed you this show last year, maybe. It is another Adult Swim cartoon, Smiling Friends.
Oh yeah, okay. I know you've been loving that one.
It's really stupid. It's absolutely stupid. I feel like this came in at a time when Rick and Morty went through all of the upheaval of that show, went on with Justin Roiland and everything, right. And a lot of people, it's grown long. I mean, it still has a gigantic number of fans, but I know a lot of people kind of fell off of it.
Shrugged it off at that, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like this kind of hopped into that spot of being the absurdist, like, it's not, quote unquote, smart like Rick and Morty is. Like, it's just the idea. Yes, the idea is there is a company called Smiling Friends, and people hire them when they're sad to have the employees come and make them smile. And if they
Yeah.
don't smile, they don't have to pay. That's the premise of the entire show, and it's these two guys, Charlie and Pim, who look like ridiculous caricatures of, I don't know, I wouldn't say humans because
It's a
they're
very crude animation style, but it works very well in the context of the show.
it's a very crude animation style, and if you go from season 1 to season 2 to season 3, you can see how they've started experimenting with more stuff. So in season 3, in several of the episodes, they did rotoscoping with just random like sections. Like there's one part where the guys go to a cabin to hang out with Mr. Boss. That's the boss's name, is Mr. Boss. They go hang out with him at a cabin, and Mr. Boss, I believe, sees Pim, and they do like the bro like high five handshake stuff. And for whatever reason, just that section of like 10 seconds is rotoscoped. Yeah, and then it just goes back to the regular animation. It's super absurdist. If you like off the wall zany kind of stuff, I'd say you would enjoy it.
I mean, I've watched a few episodes and I've enjoyed what I watched.
I meant just in like the public at large.
I understand.
If they enjoyed zany stuff.
I'm saying me personally, I've enjoyed what I've watched. It's not something that I can ingest a lot of at once. Like I watched my 22-minute Smiling Friends episode. I'm set for my Smiling Friends for a minute.
They're only 12.
Oh, excuse me. Yeah, they're quite short,
they're
actually.
12 minutes.
That's about as they need to be that digestible,
Yeah.
I would say.
The beats are very quick. It just moves like there's no.
It's very fat. It's not subtle.
No,
I would say.
No,
but I do like it, and I will watch more of it for sure because I know you really love it.
Well, I appreciate that. Let's move on to your number 2.
So this is kind of a toss-up, and I went back and forth with a few things in here, especially when we kind of said that we're including not just movies, but all the stuff we watched last year.
Yep.
But it had to come in at my number 2, and that was the new season of King of the Hill.
Oh my God, I can't believe that I left that off my list.
I was gonna say either you're gonna go that's on mine too, or you're gonna go holy shit, how did I forget about that one?
Yeah,
but we made our list, Wyatt.
Huge oversight.
Didn't have it, so that's why I'm here to remind you that you forgot.
Thanks, Alanis.
So talking, this is my second Mike Judge related project on the list, and King of the Hill I think is basically animation royalty at this point. Everybody knows what it is, but after 15 years off the air, they came back and picked up the story with aging the characters that far.
Give or take, they took
some liberties, and that's fair. But they've transitioned them into our modern timeline and our current events, and never has it been done so well that I can recall in any other property. Where we pick back up with these characters, and they're who we knew and loved, but definitely 15 years older down the line. Peggy and Hank are entering their senior years. They're kind of retired now.
Bobby's just retired.
Yeah, Bobby's in his early 20s, and he's
owns a restaurant.
Running a restaurant. And all of it fits and makes total sense for where you might expect those characters to be 15 years later. Including Bill being housebound in the first episode after COVID.
I do love the very cartoon-esque of that's Bill in the first episode, then the second episode.
We just bring him right back to normal. Yeah. So I'll let you touch onto that because I know you probably adored this just as much as, if not more than I.
Yeah, I am I'm still kicking myself so hard for completely forgetting that I watched it.
And what's funny is I didn't watch this. I wasn't a huge fan when it was on as much. It was something that came on late night in TV, and I watched it and enjoyed it. And then I watched this latest season, and it really just absolutely clicked with me. Like, damn, this is smart and good.
It is. It's one of the. It's much better than Futurama. I wish Futurama would have ended at its first.
No, see, I never watched the new episodes of Futurama. I know people didn't think much of it. Yeah,
you can if you wanted to, but the first reboot of Futurama, I was fine with. And if they would have ended the series at that, because they had a very good final episode, that basically the idea was they created a time portal, and Fry and Leela like get to the end of their lives and they go, oh, wouldn't it be great if we could relive this all over again? And they walk into the time portal, which basically brings you back to you being able to watch episode 1, and you want like it just gives you the
that's pretty
entire
cool.
loop. Yeah, but then they had to ruin that, and they've had like 2 more reboots, and
That's another one that I watched late night syndication, but never like watched through front to back.
Nobody really did. That's why it ended up getting canceled the first time, is because
I guess that's fair.
It did bad. It did poor ratings. But anyway, to talk about what we were actually talking about, so King of the Hill did a great job with the reboot. Like you said, it's the same style. The only nitpicky thing that I have, and they've talked about it, is the animation style is different. It used to be hand drawn. It used to be like very unique animation style.
Yeah, for sure. And it's still there to an extent. But if that's the sacrifice that they have to make to get it produced, then that's what it is. If they're not going to, the studio's not going to pay for a fleet of animators doing cell animation anymore. They're just not going to. That sucks, but it is what it is. I'd rather live in a world that has the new season of King of the Hill than not, though.
I believe the original, at least some of the original series, was actually done by Japanese animators, which is why there's a running joke that a lot of people's favorite anime is King of the Hill, because it technically is. So the new animation style is more likened to like Bob's Burgers, Archer,
for sure,
the Flash animation. That it's a lot cheaper to produce. It's easier to which, like you said, that's the sacrifice that had to be made to get it done. And I believe Mike Judge and some of the other people on the project basically had said like, this just isn't done anymore. We can't do it. Like the costs, like everything, and sadly that's what we're beholden to today, is costs and shareholders and profits, and making sure that
it's all of that too.
Money.
But it's technology. Like
it is.
You love CRT TVs, but it's not feasible to produce new ones these days. And there's no parts being manufactured. It's just not done that way anymore. It doesn't exist.
Shout out to Aaron.
Right. But you understand my analogy there.
No, absolutely. But yeah, the season is so good. So like we said, Bobby becomes a restaurant owner. He's like 21, 22 years old, didn't go to college. He knew he wanted to be a chef. So he
opened a German hibachi fusion restaurant.
Yeah. Chain, Rabata Chain.
Rabata Chain.
He owns it with Chain Wasana Song and his father, who Chain from the original episode was one of Bobby's bullies. And you kind of see throughout the new season that he's still kind of a bully, but Bobby puts up with it because he is getting he's a part restaurant owner at 21, 22 years old.
Yeah, well, his dad financed the whole thing. That's why.
Yes,
he puts
exactly.
Up with it. And he's pretty much a douchebag is the way to put it.
The entire family is.
Yeah.
But you can see, it's really nice to see like Bobby come into his own. Like he's still in his early 20s. He's living with Joseph. Joseph's working as a construction worker. Hank and Peggy, we first see in the first episode, come back. They just came back from Saudi Arabia. Hank took a job doing propane for I don't know if
makes sense.
Saudi
what a
Arabian
Texas
government.
propane gas worker would do, be able to collect a huge contract, doing a 3-year bid in Saudi Arabia, and live in a fake version of the American suburbs.
And that was the exact thing. Is they went over there. They showed like kind of some clips, and it literally was just like Arlen, Texas, and Saudi Arabia.
Well, I think the point was they came back to Texas, and it wasn't Texas anymore, and it was more like that back in Saudi Arabia because it was this idealized version kind of thing. Of course, not of it being real, but Peggy doesn't know that.
Yeah. Peggy thought that Peggy, who is ever thinks she knows absolutely everything, talked about how Saudi Arabia like they did this or that, and then I think it was later you see that like they just lived in a basic Americanized suburb the entire time, so she didn't really have any of the experience that
she's. I think I described her as being a well-meaning but delightful, but an amusing total lack of any self-awareness whatsoever. Yes. Yeah.
But so there's a couple things that are different. So obviously, Brittany Murphy and Tom Petty both passed away. Lucky and Luann. So they. I don't remember if they actually even talked about it, but they were written off the show. We see a photo.
I don't recall them even mentioning Luann.
They probably
Maybe they
didn't.
did at one point.
There's a photo of them with their daughter Gracie, and I think Gracie gets mentioned at some point. Johnny Hardwick, who played Dale, ended up dying about halfway through the season.
They did what the best they could to honor him, but it made for a very jarring experience for me because my brain kept detecting that it was two voices going back and forth, I think.
Yeah, and that was the thing is that obviously the way, most people know the way that television and movies work is you don't necessarily shoot from point A to point Z. So
no,
there
it
were,
doesn't just follow the script.
I know it is very surprising.
And they shoot episodes out of order?
Yeah. So as Nick had said, so Toby Huss, who played Han in the original series, he played Artie, the strongest man in the world in The Adventures of Pete and Pete.
Yeah.
He played John Bosworth in *Halt and Catch Fire*. He's a legendary actor. I think the guy is amazing. But he took over for Johnny Hardwick. So there are, even within the same episode, you have two different Dale voices because Johnny Hardwick recorded some lines and then Toby Huss recorded others. I think it'll be less jarring. It has
Next
been
season.
renewed. Yeah, it's been renewed for I think 2 more seasons already at this point. So next season, when you only have Toby Huss doing Dale's voice, I think it'll be a lot less jarring.
I'll be fine with it then. Totally.
Yeah.
Because it's like you mentioned Rick and Morty. They're new Rick and Morty voices. My brain doesn't
They're a little
care at all.
different, but it's not different
it's
enough.
It's just that one little thing where your brain goes, that ain't right. Something's missing there. So I'll totally adjust to it after that. So that, I mean, they did what they could to honor it, the original actor, and
they did a great job.
Maybe give him, or whoever he left behind a payday, kind of thing. Excuse me, sir. I don't know if the audience can hear that on the studio mic, but
they can.
There's a husky dog barking at me from across the room. Come here. Come here. Come here.
He wants to go for a walk.
He wants to go outside. Come here. Hi, buddy. Yeah. Okay. That's all right. We're talking about our favorite movies, and we're almost done, and then we'll go outside. Yeah, that's right. So that puts us at where?
Puts me at our number 2, which we can more or less gloss over because my number 2 is Ephus.
All right. Well, I questioned whether it would be 2 or 1. That was my biggest question going into this: is where you'd place Ephus.
I think you'll be surprised at my number 1. To be perfectly honest with you.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, would we? I don't know if we mentioned. I know you saw this nearby, and when it was touring, and that one of the actors is from your area. Wasn't it filmed somewhere near your end of the woods?
Ephus?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was filmed in middle of a small town in the middle of Massachusetts.
Oh, okay. So it wasn't.
It's right. Yeah.
We're not talking about a mystery squad situation, though.
No.
Okay.
It's probably an hour plus away from me.
But very familiar for someone that grew up in the Northeast kind of thing. I'm sure that town could be a million other towns in the area.
The movie itself was incredibly New Hampshire, New England coded.
There's some great accents in there too.
And a lot of those are voices that they're on aren't accents. Those are they're on like play accents. Those are like
that's who the guys are. Yeah, I understand.
One big cameo that anybody that watches the Boston Red Sox or listens to the Boston Red Sox would recognize is Joe Castiglione, who was a voice for Red Sox radio for 30 some odd years. He has a small bit part where he's the guy that plays the food truck owner, the pizza guy.
Oh yeah,
that doesn't want to be there. Yeah, he has a great small role in it. And Carson Lund, the director, during the Q&A section after we screened the movie, talked about how he couldn't believe that he got Joe Castiglione to show up. I think he showed up on set for like 5 hours. He had like basically half a day to give them.
You got to use him, yeah.
Yep. They rearranged their shoot for the day to make sure that they could shoot his stuff and then sent him off. But yeah, an incredibly New England, northern Massachusetts, New Hampshire coded movie. So that brings us into our drum roll of our number 1s. So I honestly have no idea what you're going to say, so I'm curious to see where we're at.
So I went through a bunch of stuff when we were making this list. I'm not going to say I spent a huge amount of time on it, but I just went through, top 100 movies and shows of 2025 for critics lists and stuff. I went through my own Plex library history to see what we had watched over the course of the year and stuff like that. And there was a lot of stuff this year that I liked a lot, but not as many things where I'm like, damn, that made an impression. And you already brought it up, Tim Travers and the Time Traveler's Dilemma.
Number one. Wow. Yeah.
Thinking about movies over the past year, and that is the one that stayed with me by far the most after I watched it, and that I immediately went back and watched bits and pieces that I really liked again to kind of answer any questions that I had and just explore it more, because I adored it. I really liked the arrogant, reluctant anti-hero-ness to the character. The whole not butterfly effect, but the running theme throughout the movie of hey, a lot can happen in a couple hours, that can change a guy.
Yep.
It was just fun. It's the type of stuff that I enjoy thinking about. Silly philosophy or just paradox questions like that don't necessarily have an answer and can't be answered by science. It's just fun. It's a fun place to play, and I had a ball with that movie. I especially liked the love interest.
Felicia Day?
Yeah, that she was just like such a strong-willed kind of character that wasn't even necessarily interested in this guy in the first place, and what am I even doing here?
She was interested in him because he was the first person to push back
tell
on Joel
McHale to fuck
yeah.
off. Yeah. And that's, but as soon as they, 2 minutes into their first date, when he's late and she's like, what in God's name am I doing here? Like, look, I drove across town into this horrific
really crappy part. Yeah.
Dirt dive bar that no one would dare drink in to meet you here, and you're kind of being a pompous dick. Like, it was, I loved it. So I was very happy to hear that it made your list, because I didn't know whether that would be one that would show up or not. But
no, it definitely could have been higher.
I wouldn't say it's not a perfect movie by any stretch, but it's one that's
7 out of 10.
It's original enough and unique enough that it'll stick with me a lot more than something that might be a, quote, better movie.
Okay, so
which then means, as my dog huffs and puffs, it's time for Uncle Wyatt to give us his movie or property of the year, and he is staring at his screen right now. I'm letting you behind the curtain. I'm not sure he knows what he wants to say.
Oh no, I know exactly what I want to say.
Oh, okay.
It's just I know that you're going to be like, what? Like, you never really talk about it.
Oh, okay.
So my number one piece of media for 2025. This is, again, it's a show that started outside of 2025, but I really got into it this year.
Fair.
So it's the show by Dropout TV called Game Changer.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right. You're really playing into the media part of this. I like this. This is a different take. So this is kind of, I'll let you explain it, but it is not traditional television, or certainly not a movie, and not even broadcast. This is we built our own network, FU.
Yep. This is the team behind the former College Humor decided to put together their own quote-unquote network / streaming service called Dropout TV, which, get it? College dropout, haha.
I went to high school with the creator guy.
You went to high school with Sam?
No, Ricky Van Veen. He's not with the company anymore.
Yeah. I think you told me that before, but for some reason I memory hold it. But yeah, so the idea behind Dropout TV is it's a group of improv comedians, basically, that have created, I think Dropout has over a dozen original shows at this point. They do everything from D&D live plays, like long plays, 3+ hour episodes of, just a group of 6 people playing D&D and being able to
It's
hear.
all very held together with sticks and glue
Yes.
kind of budgets in the most wonderful way possible.
At the beginning, you can definitely see that they've started to make some
Make
money.
money.
It's still, yeah. But Game Changer is probably the property that most people would recognize from Dropout TV. It is a game show, essentially, with Sam Reich, who is the son of former, I believe, Labor Secretary Robert Reich. He
Wow.
worked. Yeah. Yep. No. So Sam comes from money. But Sam is your game show host, and there's 3 different improv comedians that essentially it's changing every week. And the idea behind Game Changer is the contestants don't even know what the game is. The game is different.
The rules change every single
Yeah.
week, and it could be something different. It could be a physical thing, could be a monetary challenge, could be a trivia thing, could be a million other things. Yeah, you got me on this just a couple weeks ago. I watched like the first few episodes, I think, out of the first season, and
it's just delightful. It's just
it really is. It's charming, and it speaks volumes of that spark that actual people who like each other can have versus
yes, it's very clear that this
a
entire
producer
group
came together and got this
Yeah.
group of perfect looking individuals and placed them in a room. So now make television. It doesn't work that way. You have to have actual chemistry.
I don't think you've seen the episode. I think it might be the first season. It's an earlier season, but Brennan Lee Mulligan, who a lot of people recognize, he's like the quintessential dungeon master for D&D. He's a super creative person. But there's one episode, and
Oh
he
yeah,
is
that guy.
basically
He's on the show a bunch. Yeah.
Yeah. He is basically, him and Sam Reich are basically each other's foils. They are always going after each other. And there's one episode that the name of the game, or the actual game they were playing, is basically Brennan Can't Win. And the entire episode, it's basically just asking trivia questions or asking certain things, and Brennan cannot score a point in the entire episode. And so Brennan wins the game by not winning the game, because about like 15 to 20 minutes into it, he finally figures out that the game is that Brennan can't win the game. And he just goes off on this epic monologue. That's one thing that Brennan is known for. He's the same guy that did one of the commercials that you put in one of our episodes. I think it was the Four Loko commercial.
Oh yeah, good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
he was in Upright Citizens Brigade.
Yep. So it's just such a different form of media that it's, like you said, it's seeing a group of people that actually enjoy getting together and creating these things. Like, they all seem like genuinely, I don't want to, make assumptions that they're good people, but they seem like they're generally good-hearted people that,
Yes.
it's a very, very inclusive show.
It's not, there's just not that layer of corporate falseness painted over everything of fake idyllic gleaming smiles, and everything's, it feels very low budget production, even where there is a budget now. It in the best way possible, like I said, like that there's real people working on every aspect of these shows.
There's one episode that I really want you to watch, and it would probably mean more if you watched the entire series. Like, have you seen any episodes with Jacob Wysocki in it? He's a very big man that has a mustache and longer hair.
I don't know.
But I would say if you wanted to go parse through a few episodes that he's in, you don't have to watch the series in order in any sense. But I would suggest watch a couple episodes that he's in, and then in this
I don't know that guy. I just pulled him up on Wiki.
I think he pops in like season 2, season 3, or season 4.
Oh, okay.
He comes in a little bit later. But there's an episode in the newest season. It's based on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, and Jacob Wysocki's on it. And it's probably like, I got emotional watching that episode, like just seeing, because you see getting to know, quote unquote, Jacob Wysocki and the stuff he does, and he talks a lot about his life and the things he goes through, and then seeing this episode that, it's not essentially a spoiler alert because it's very clear from the beginning, but it was an episode that was literally created for Jacob Wysocki. it was rigged, so they did like a fastest finger for the old Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. Whoever gets the questions right or whatever, they get to be on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. So it was rigged, so he would win, so he would come up. All the questions were tailored towards him and about him, and it just so happened that all of his friends were the ones that are also in the audience with him, and then he kept like being able to use them as phone of friends, and then there were certain things, and like more of his friends would come out, and like he still doesn't figure out what's going on, and it's basically just an entire build because he was having I think he was having some financial troubles, and it was a way for them to literally give him $100,000 just because of like who he was and everything, and just seeing like this buildup of everything. It was
I wonder if that's like inspired by Brennan Lee Mulligan being apparently a contestant on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire back in the day.
It may have been.
Yeah.
It may have been. But I would highly suggest, like I said, it's not really giving it away because if you see the episode description before you click on it,
yeah,
like,
I'll watch it.
Yeah.
That's fine. Yeah, just point it in my direction.
So I'd say Game Changer / Dropout TV is my number one.
I'll allow Dropout as a singular thing because it's you have to subscribe to the network kind of thing.
Yeah. So they have Make Some Noise is another one I like, which actually started off as a Game Changer episode, which is basically Sam Reich gives them improv prompts like, you need to be Colonel Sanders trying to order, going to the bank and trying to take out a loan.
You know what it actually reminds me of? Not in content necessarily, but in the kind of we get to do whatever we want and we're scrappy.
Whose line is it anyway?
Well, no, it reminds me of like early days of the G4 network.
Yeah, actually, I could see that. Just kind of something that has been tossed together by a group of people that like each other.
Well, and it's grown organically from these things that were kind of loose ideas, and now we have like regular parts and all of that stuff. I just it made me think of those early 2000s days.
So like I said, I would it's about, I think it's $5 a month to subscribe. It's very
well worth
for the amount of content that they have.
Hulu or something. Yeah,
like I said, so they have Game Changer. They have a show called Make Some Noise, which is basically more of an improv style show. There's Dimension 20, which is their tabletop RPG long plays. There's like shows called Dirty Laundry. There's Smarty Pants. Like there's literally about a dozen shows that if you enjoy improv style comedy, if you enjoy people that like each other getting a chance to create art,
spontaneous
together,
improv and fun situations and all. Yeah,
I highly recommend it.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep watching it for sure. Oh, on that note, I think that was our favorite stuff of the year, and we're going to be back with you next week to go over our favorite games of the year. Is that correct?
I guess you'll have to tune in next week and find out.
Oh, yes. So for Mr. Wyatt over there, I am Nick. He is Wyatt. We don't have it yet. Oof, I can't even get the title right. That's how much we don't have it yet.
We've only been doing it for 6 months.
Yeah, tell your friends and neighbors if you enjoyed the show to give us a check out. We're both on Blue Sky along with the account. Website should be up sometime over the break. Better.
It's technically up.
Just getting content. But until then, we will see you next week, everybody.
Bye-bye.